welcome to the Demo Dive, where I live stream myself digging through Steam's demo tag to sort the trash from the treasure. I'm CB, and I am having a countdown. It is pretty much exactly 2 weeks until I get a whole week off my human-coded day job. Hopefully those 2 weeks will treat me as well as my human-coded day job ever does. I'd rather not spend the entire week just recovering from the physical and mental exhaustion. Medical sidebar, fibromyalgia is a bitch. Anyway, I promised a visual novel titled Love, Money, Rock and Roll today, but I changed my mind over the weekend following some faff that went on at the BAFTA Games Awards, or didn't happen. I know most game awards are bullshit. Thing is, the BAFTAs are actually done by a charity and academy, literally the British Academy of Film and Television Arts. And like it says on the tin, they're out there looking at art that happens on a screen. The fact that BAFTA started looking at video games as a part of their remit feels like a big deal, because it says they're seeing games as art when so much of the industry treats them like nothing but product. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about the awards in specific or the winners or anything like that. I'm only bringing it up because BAFTA kind of fell down this year at things like accessibility and content warnings. And that latter lost what sounds like an important game some equally important press. There's a company called Silver Script Games, fledgling company, little team out of Guildford, so not far from where I am now. And they've been working on a semi autobiographical game called The Quiet Things. This game has already won a couple of awards for innovation and story locally, and its trailer was supposed to be shown at the BAFTA Game Awards this year, like literally just a few days ago. However, BAFTA pulled it at the last minute because the game deals with sensitive themes like child abuse and self harm, and they were afraid of triggering members of the audience. Honestly, I've seen the trailer myself, and there is exactly one point at which it might get triggering for those of us with experience of self harm. But the trailer's just over a minute long, and it was clear that Silver Script took great pains to show as little distressing content as possible while still getting the themes of the game across to an audience. Thing is, while disturbing, hell, it's probably going to be hard for me in places because I was pretty much there at that age. It's a bunch of subjects that need to be talked about openly, not swept under the rug. The devs have said that the whole point of this game is to tackle the shame and open conversations and to give survivors a voice. We're living in a time where people think age locking the entire world is better than parents having healthy conversations about sensitive subjects with their kids, when opening a dialogue about these things is the only real way to keep kids safe, rather than hiding them, give them the weapons they need to deal with it. So, I'm going to have a look at the demo for The Quiet Things today. And since a demo has more in it than a trailer, I'm going to start with a trigger warning. This game deals with themes of child abuse, self harm, and suicidal ideation. If you're not in a place where you feel like your mental health can cope at any point, please step back from the stream. I don't want anyone to be triggered because I've been triggered about things by other subjects and I know how much it sucks. If you're okay, glad to have you. Sitting comfortably? Good. Then we'll begin. Yeah, see, here we go. The Quiet Things is based on a true story, but names, dates, and identifying information has been changed to protect the privacy of everyone involved. The game is still in active development and is our first game, so we always appreciate your feedback. There are themes in this demo around grief, childhood abuse, self-harm, and suicide. Please ensure you are in the headspace to engage with these topics before starting. The game is best enjoyed with a controller. For some reason, I hope it's better than Tuconi's. Anyway, and headphones. Press A or click to continue. Okay, what else is up with the settings? Subtitles on, volume, mass sensitivity, quality, epic. Well, my computer seems to be working fine with that, so new game. Content warning: this game contains references to topics such as grief, loss, depression, self-harm, suicide, and abuse. I mean, that really does say something for them. They want to be absolutely sure that you are in a headspace where you can handle this. One of the things I found about triggers, I actually wrote an essay about it once, was sometimes all you really need is to know it's there to be able to brace yourself to deal with it when you encounter it. It's like the difference between there was a show called Carnival where one of my exes got me to watch it, and for the first 5 minutes there was a lot of very evangelical, fanatical religious kind of talking, and that is actually a trigger spot for me. There was some really weird, I hesitate to call it faith based, but religion based kind of trauma that I experienced as a kid. And I left the room and could not deal with it again. And I got similarly triggered, weirdly enough, and I know how this is going to sound, but the air fryer in Date Everything is also kind of a fanatic, religious wise. And when I decided to talk to the air fryer, I actually got triggered because I did not see that shit coming. But then there was one of Michael Flanagan's bits on Netflix, Midnight Mass, which, I mean, both the name and all the gift sets I saw on Tumblr told me right away was there is going to be some religious fanaticism going on here. And just knowing it was going to be there, it still wasn't easy. And I still was very, very uncomfortable. But it wasn't as bad because I knew it was coming and I could brace myself for it. So maybe for some people that's all they need. For others, if they know they're not going to be able to handle it, they now have had like two separate occasions where they've been told, be careful, this is going to be a thing, back off if you have to. Because seriously, nobody wants to hurt anybody. It's just, again, some of these conversations need to be had. Anyway, yes, I understand and wish to continue. 1 in 15 children experience abuse in the UK. 17% of people will self-harm at some point in their life. 24% of 17-year-olds report having self-harmed in the UK in the last year. 1,926 people die every day to suicide. That's one person every minute. While names, places, and dates have been changed or omitted to protect the identity of those involved, this is a true story. For an object and left click to interact. Well, I'm trying to. There we go. Ah, there's a sprint function. all about me. Name Alice, age 8, eye color blue, hair color brown, height I don't know. Pets, fish in the garden, one ginger cat called Rolo, and a hamster called Toffee. They've named all their pets after sweets. That's actually kind of adorable. Um, for new people turning up, if you didn't sort of watch the beginning of this, trigger warning just to let you know, themes of depression, child abuse, self harm, suicide. If you're not in a place where you can handle that, maybe don't, because I don't want to trigger anybody, and I know I'm gonna have a hard enough time with this one. So, hi, ahem. Favorite food? Pizza, but ice cream too. Favorite animal? Wolf. Hobbies? Writing, drawing, skipping. I can do 100 skips. Cross stitch. Okay. Nothing you can interact with in there. Play Kid Hugh. The Lonely Hedgehog. What happens when you lose mum or dad? And there is a Bible. Glorious. That's actually adorable. uh, yeah, there's a Tamagotchi. Great. When I dream, I see another world where we are all happy. Oh dear. Okay, bathroom. Weird looking plant. You used to do what? Okay, that. Another Bible. I'm, I'm. Maybe it's just that religious trauma I was talking about, but the fact that they've got Bibles in the rooms. More closet. Asbestosis? Oh, good grief. Asbestos exposure. Jesus Christ. Can't go in that one? Okay. Choices for end of life care. All about my family. There's me, Alice, and then my two brothers, Daniel and Sam. Daniel is 6 and Sam is 4. Then there is my mum, but I don't know her name. She's just Mum. And then Dad, but he has lots of names and changes which one he uses. Sometimes people call him his middle name. Mum and Dad are both old. Daniel is good to play with, but I always win, of course. Sam is annoying most of the time because he can't play properly yet. I did let him share my pirate island, though, as long as he was the baddies. Daily News. The future of dog, according to an expert. I mean, if you're going to have placeholder text, why not? Ah, yes, the infamous beans on toast. Dear Diary, I'm at a sleepover right now and we are writing in our diaries. I went to a fair with Amy earlier and there was maypole dancing. See ya then. Yeah, that's usually Robinson's. I'm thinking that there's a bunch of people who are not going to understand that half the, what are supposed to be brand names. Okay, that must mean that Dad went elsewhere. So what am I supposed to do? I've been through all the thing. Handbag is still here. Okay. Car's gone. Where is everybody and what am I supposed to be doing next? Anything I missed? Okay, nothing to click on there. Nothing for the windows. Ah, tree. Go to bed to end the day. There we go. Okay, okay, I'm going. Dear Diary. Anyway, today at school was awful. I can see everyone talking about me behind my back when they see the cuts down my left arm. Even my friends are all having private, whispered conversations about me, and I feel more isolated than ever. I can just see everyone laughing about it. I wish I hadn't done it tonight, but I did. The back of my hand, up my left arm, and on my horrible fat stomach. But that feeling that lasts maybe 5 minutes, it makes me feel powerful and in control. I always stare at myself in the bathroom mirror. It makes me feel stronger. But then I'll hear my parents coming up the stairs. I always run into my room, turn the light off, and pretend to be asleep. Tonight I have my light on, but I have to turn it off soon or they will see me. I have to hide it. Hide from myself. Help me. Yeah, I'm seeing what they mean about the triggers now. Oh boy. You need to talk to someone. Ask your teacher about talking to one of our guidance counselors. Don't keep it bottled up, but that is in fact what she is doing. Oh, hey, you can see the back garden. And there must be where the fish are. Dear Diary, today I haven't self-harmed at all. I had a long chat with Miss Smith at school. I got myself really worried and scared, but she was there for me and even hugged me. She let me skip graphics. Well, she let me work on my own in another classroom, but everything that we said to each other won't be put on paper. It's a secret, and that's what it shall stay. She said she was really worried about me, though. I meant to see someone on Monday and talk to Miss Smith again. I'm okay at the moment, though. Not happy or anything, just tired. I have no more energy left for being angry and scared. Well, I'm sure when I close my eyes, my mind will find a nightmare for me. Write later. I'm really tired, sorry. I'll tell you everything that's happened today, tomorrow. Aw. Those old bricks. Dear Diary. Anyway, today at school was awful. Oh, it's this the same one, so that must have been. Okay, never mind. No shame in that. I don't sleep with my stuffies anymore, but I have plenty of them. Symptoms of depression overview. Am I depressed? 10 signs you should know. Signs of depression in adults. Depression and its hidden signs. There should not be an apostrophe there. How to spot signs of depression. Boulevard of Broken Dreams tabs. Oh boy. Is Richie Edwards still alive? I have no idea who the hell Richie Edwards is. I may have to look that up at some point. Dear Diary, so everyone went back to school today. In a way, I was excited to get back to school. Maybe it was to get away from the family. I don't know why. It's not that bad or anything. Now I think about it, maybe it's because it's easy to get away with self-harming when I'm away from home all day. I've heard people say it's addictive, like drugs. I suppose in a way it is. I'm just so afraid that my parents will find out. That's why, when it's easy for me to get found out, I stop altogether until the danger is not so dangerous. It's like easing away any fears my parents might have that I self harm. I went to my granddad's place up north for a week with my brothers. I made sure any cuts had healed up completely. When I packed my suitcase, I left my razor blades behind, so even if I'd wanted to, I couldn't. I did make sure I had the penknife in the pocket of my denim jacket. I knew I wouldn't leave without that jacket, and in that I knew I'd have my knife. But the week went fine, and I was so relieved to be able to wear whatever clothes I fancied without having to worry about whether or not it would reveal the cuts. Ugh, poor kid. Dear Diary, when I got home, everything was fine for a few days. Then I confessed to my parents that I needed new school trousers. So on Saturday, my dad, my stepmom, my baby brother, and I trailed to town to get new school trousers. My stepmom says that this shop is a sweatshop, so she was unhappy buying trousers from there. It's not like we had much choice. We don't have any extra cash. But then this triggered an argument. She said if we just had more money, we could buy things from a company that didn't treat their workers like shit. Dad apologized, but his company couldn't help not making money. They were trying their best. She said it didn't really look like it. Dad smacked his head on the nearest wall deliberately. They went on arguing like this until we got home. I'm not going into detail about it for the sake of my hand and your eyes. Dad then started insulting my stepmom's family to get at her, and needless to say, she was crying by the time we got home. I mean, it's no big deal. I've seen so much of it with my mum and dad, and with my stepmom and dad. I'm a big girl, I can handle it and everything, but it upset me a bit that they were so willing to fight in front of a small child who's only 1 year old. My baby brother was understanding in a way what was going on, or at the very least he was upset by it. He didn't burst out screaming and crying like most babies would. He just sat there looking upset and scared. That was when I started self harming again, after my break from it. Last weekend, the day after my friend's party. Still not going into the brother's room? Okay. Caring for your newborn baby, what to expect in the first 12 weeks with your new bundle of joy. Okay. I've never understood that. That is such a British thing. I don't understand why British people leave money on their nightstands. It it's just a thing. It seems to happen and it's I don't get it. I guess they're just emptying out pockets, but isn't that what like wallets are for? There should generally be like a wallet. Okay. Simon, Sophie, Brandon. That must be the new babby. Short chart. Why are we leaving the milk out? I fixate on weird shit. Let's see. Shopping list. Soy milk, bread, asparagus, tofu, soy sauce, bananas. Can you use cosmic ordering on lottery numbers? Cosmic ordering in the law of attraction, cosmic ordering research, crystal healing courses, and the Reiki. Oh, dear gods. I think our stepmom might be a little barmy. Okay, I must have missed something. The question is what? Holiday on a budget, locations ranked, his revenge, kids take to stand, crash tragedy. Okay. No, nothing there. I got that one. Fine. Still missing something. Hmm. Apparently I can't move on until I've clicked all the things. I just don't know what all the things are. Oh, diary. No, I can't click the diary. I guess that's what the pages are for. So, okay. Hmm. And I can't click on that one. Ah. Oh! We saved the most disturbing for last. Okay. Great. Yes. Fine. Ah, right in your diary to end the day. So that's our demo. It's. I mean, there's a bunch of games in this vein. Most of them that I've seen thus far are not quite so. I mean, there's one. Don't remember the name offhand, but basically, ironically enough, deals with uh, losing your memory over age, that kind of dementia. There's another one that actually manufactures how hard things are when you're trying to function when having depression. This one, I mean, obviously it's gonna hit different depending on whether you've had those experiences and when you've had those experiences, how long ago. Not that it gets easy at any point, mind you. We didn't have anything quite that overt when I was growing up, because I think it's that there's different kinds of abusers, and some are more. Actually think it's okay, and some maybe don't necessarily think it's okay, but they think it's understandable because they only do it when they lose their temper. I mean, in my house, there was no deliberate hanging of a belt somewhere, but there was some stuff, a whole lot more yelling, frankly, but the other bits as well. So, obviously, not particularly easy. But it's still an important thing because I know from experience on a better angle that seeing yourself represented, knowing that you are not alone in the experience that is giving you this much trouble, it really does help and it makes it easier to talk to someone else about it. Partially because you know you're not alone, so you know that maybe the person you're going to talk to will understand either because they know it firsthand or they've spoken to someone else who does. But more importantly, it gives you the vocabulary. That's a problem that we're encountering a whole lot um, over the last. I mean, it's largely the 2020s, but it was happening a bit before that. It's actually something that they warned against in George Orwell's 1984. It's the removal of vocabulary. It's taking away words like uh, rape, suicide. If you don't have the words to say it, you can't talk about it, and it just keeps happening because you can't flag up to people that this is a thing that is wrong and it is happening, not without the words to say it. So this is giving the words and the experience and the showing that, yeah, it might look fine on the outside to people, but that's the problem. It's all happening under the surface of this normal looking family life. And it means that you need to speak up or it just will never stop. And when it doesn't stop and everyone only pays attention to the surface and you feel like you have no control over anything that's going on in your life, particularly at that age where I mean, you literally have no control over anything that's going on, and then it turns out that you can't even make the people who are supposed to love you stop hurting you. Then there are a whole bunch of psychological reasons why hurting yourself seems perfectly valid at that point, and that's what a lot of the diary entries we saw in that second day were talking about. And yeah, it's important to see and in a scenario where you're removed enough from it that it's not just your life, because if you're in that kind of mood and it's just your life doesn't really feel to you, or didn't to me, like it was worth fixing. But if you see it outside in a safer environment, so to speak, if you can see your situation reflected back at you, you can say, hey, that's fucked up. Which means what's happening to me is fucked up. Which means something needs to be done. And I'm as much as this is a painful game to play through, I am in it to see what happened at that 11 a.m. appointment, which it sounds like somebody skipped. What the dad is doing and saying about her talking to professionals about what's going on. because that kind of language that we hear him using is somebody who's trying to make sure that nobody from outside his little family unit knows what's going on. And Stepmom is too far off with the fairies to be doing shit. But that's just another part of things, really. So yeah, the the devs are getting across what they need to or what they mean to. But it is something that needs to be out there, and it can't just be in proselytizing books and prose trying to figure out from an adult perspective what a teenager is thinking, because that doesn't generally speaking work. But this is somebody talking from their own firsthand experiences, and that counts for a lot more. It's like it's like a TED talk, but a bit less bombastic, I guess is a good word. Anyway, another reason for playing this one today is that this one actually has a release date. I mean, the release date is 4th June, so the demo will be around for another month-ish, but I figured it was best to do these things while they're still on my mind, because then I forget. Um, if you liked the look of this and it's not going to negatively affect your mental health, maybe download the demo and give it a shot. Remember, my opinion isn't the be all and end all, and sometimes the feel of playing a game can make or break your enjoyment, so try before you buy wherever possible. Plus, downloading the demo indicates that there is interest in a game like this, and basically tells the BAFTA people that no, all you need is a content warning, and we're good to go, because this is why video games are considered art by BAFTA standards. It's not just something that is sold to entertain and make money. It is telling a story, and sometimes that story is very true to life. Anyway, for those who like a text-based and digression-free review, that'll be up on my Ko-fi page shortly. Never a paywall, I do it for the love of the games, but maybe toss some folks in my general direction if you like what I do. I like the company. The review will have the embedded VOD, which will also be on YouTube, to join my gallery of epic, ridiculous, and more than occasionally profane flail in case you joined late or just fancy coming back to it later. Like I said on Friday, now that I've pretty much got the transferal of VOD to YouTube down pretty well, I thought I might expand things on the channel a bit. I play video games almost exclusively as far as entertainment goes. I tend to get understimulated when I'm just watching TV, though books at least exercise my imagination enough to not have that problem. Anyway, point is, I play video games a lot, so I figured why not share that experience with whoever happens to be passing. So, whether it's pulling up comfortable old games that deserve more attention, or trying something new to weed through the unplayed games collection, I'm going to start just streaming when I play video games in general. I don't imagine I'll have a lot of people watching due to time zones, but that's what VOD is for. It's a bit late for me to start a new game now because, I have work in the morning. Uh, time zone as well. So anyway, tomorrow, when I'm done with the human coded day job and dinner and all the rest of it, I'll be picking up Pillars of Eternity. I loved that game when it first came out. I still love it, and I imagine I'll love it even more with the turn-based mode Obsidian gave it recently that I am desperate to try. So that's going to be a whole bunch of fun, and I get to think about what character I want to run through it. Huzzah! But of course, I'll still be doing the demo dives as per usual. So on Wednesday, I'll do the promised Love, Money, Rock and Roll demo I promised for today, since it's generally good to stick with the visual novel interactive story stuff midweek, given the whole human coded day job thing. Also, it does sound interesting, and it'll probably be interesting to watch me yell at it, so I hope to see you there, even if I don't see you for the start of Pillars of Eternity tomorrow. Either way, until then, or until next, have a good one.